a lot of people ask, why would you transfer the magazine to Ole Miss? You know, you sold that magazine down the river. No, it wasn't really a sale. It was, there wasn't any money involved. But, it was because really of the history. You know, the people said Ole Miss, you know, Mississippi had this reputation for segregation, and Ole Miss was the bastion of segregation because of the James Meredith case and things that had gone on here. And I thought, with the changes that I saw happening, I thought that was precisely the reason it should be here, because Mississippi was changing, Ole Miss was changing, and the Center for the Study of Southern Culture has been in the forefront of that here at Ole Miss, trying to recognize African American culture and other aspects of Southern culture, things that weren't considered worthy of study before. You know, now they're getting the respect and recognition as being one of the important artistic and cultural contributions to America. And I thought this was a good place for Living Blues to be, because if it wasn't going to be in Chicago, Mississippi, you know, everybody, you know, half of the blues artists that I knew in Chicago came from Mississippi anyway. And I'd lived in Alabama and Mississippi and gone up there, and so I decided to come back too. Being able to interview the blues musicians has been probably the most fun of everything, because they've got such great stories, and a lot of times they hadn't really had an opportunity to tell them to someone for print, you know, for publication or public use. And so, and especially when we started the magazine, they hadn't been interviewed a lot. Now you interview some blues artists, or, you know, they've been interviewed 100 times, 500 times, and they've gotten tired of it, but it was all fresh when we started. And the one I always think of the most was a blues guitar player from Crystal Springs, Mississippi, named Houston Stackhouse. And he wasn't very well known. He'd hardly made any records, but he was an important figure in the blues. And he went back to, he was born in 1910, and so he went back to the early days, and he knew Robert Johnson. He played with Robert Johnson. He played with a lot of the other legendary artists like Tommy Johnson, who was the one who sold his soul to the devil, according to his brother. You know, that legend got transferred to Robert Johnson, but it was Tommy Johnson. And the Mississippi Sheiks, and Little Walter, and Muddy Waters, and Sonny Boy Williams, and he played with all those guys, and he had stories about all of them. And he would, at first I met him in Memphis, and that's where he was staying, but then I helped him get a couple of gigs in Chicago, and when he would come to Chicago, he would stay with us, and he would just sit around the house playing the guitar, playing Tommy Johnson and Robert Nighthawk songs, and drinking his gin and telling stories. And I just would ask him questions and turn the tape recorder on, and just got a wealth of material from him. It's like a one-man history of the blues, from the whole transition of Delta blues from the old acoustic style through the amplification and the electric into the modern era. And he was kind of like a guru, I guess, to me. People said he reminded them of their grandfathers.